are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast, episode 167 of the College Loop Podcast. I'm Dylan Larck at YouBoyTank on Twitter. Go ahead and shout out Tim the Toolman and Chris Causey for already having a little chat in the comments next to us. But yeah, we're gonna go get started. Tarr, I believe, might be taking a nap, so if he joins in, we'll see you later on. But just get right started. Auburn made a couple of hires over the past week in Maurice Harris and Kenyatta Watson. Also hired Will Redmond in January, but we finally got a title for him. I'll go through all those one by one in just a second. So Will Redmond has been named the general manager of player personnel after he was hired in January 31st. So just kind of a general manager against like the support staff. So basically going to be in charge of that. Maurice Harris has been named the director of football and recruiting relations, where he will act as a recruiter mostly. He was hired from Jackson State as the offensive coordinator, had the number one offense in the SWAC while he was there, number 4 scoring offense while he was there as well. And I'm reading straight off of an article. He has strong to Mississippi. He's strong in Mississippi as a recruiter, which helped Jackson State land a number 2 FCS recruiting class back-to-back seasons. He has also worked alongside Hugh Freeze at both Liberty and at Ole Miss, and I also believe that he was at Arkansas State alongside Hugh Freeze as well, so a good pickup there. Also, you have Kenyatta Watson, who is going to be named, who was named as the Director of Recruiting Research and Strategy for recruiting as well. So Hugh Freeze is going out and picking up guys, and Kenyatta Watson coming from Georgia Tech, a longtime staffer at Georgia Tech. So picking up these guys from these high-profile schools to act as a help for recruiting. And hires like this are really good for programs nowadays, because I talked about on the War Report on Thursday, I believe, where we talked about how the ever-changing climate of college football and just college sports in general are becoming more recruiting constantly. You don't have an off season anymore as a coach whenever it comes to recruiting. You were recruiting guys to come to your school and then stay at your school. And that's just the thing that's going on right now with the ever-changing climate of the transfer portal, NIL, so on and so forth. You can never stop recruiting players, no matter when they sign the NLI, no matter if they're getting when they get their degree, whether or not they're wanting to play or start or not, whatever. You have to constantly recruit. So adding guys like Will Redmond and Maurice Harris and Kenyatta Watson are going to do that for you. They're basically just ways for you to have breaks, or lack of a better term, just because you can't expect a normal human being, which as a football coach, you're not really as normal because you have to constantly be doing your job 24/7, no breaks off. Your only breaks are the off seasons, where you don't really have any more, and like the no contact periods of recruiting. But you got to hire guys like this. I think it was B. Will that said this. You cannot just have a normal coaching staff anymore at the collegiate level. You have to have this NFL caliber looking team of 25 plus people all working together. I think Nick Saban was one of the first coaches to actually create a staff along those lines. So getting guys like this really helps, especially whenever you're looking to build a program, whenever you're trying to catch up to some of the big hitters of the SEC. You have Texas and Oklahoma coming in, who are going to also take some recruits from you, recruiting the SEC. So these are all 3 really good hires, in my opinion. You're getting Maurice Harris, a guy I just said earlier, had a top offense at Jackson State. He knows offense. He worked at one of the top recruiting schools in the FCS level. He knows how to talk to recruits. Kenyatta Watson, he was a support staff at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech has done a very good job under Brent Key, where he worked, and these are just great hires. And Hugh Freeze making waves with support staff hires. So that's pretty much all I have. That's the only news we have about Auburn football. But there is spring practice coming around the corner in just a couple of weeks. I believe the 26th is the first day of Auburn spring practice, so just around the corner. But awesome thing around the corner is NCAA 25, EA College Sports 25, whatever it's going to be called, is also coming very soon. We had an announcement on Thursday, I believe, on Thursday. There was finally an announcement of a trailer that came out, and it blew everyone's mind. It's still just something to talk about throughout the entirety of the offseason because everyone wants this game to come out. I've been wanting this game to come out for years. I still play NCAA 14. That's one game. I play that game more than any other game I have in my repertoire. But with that game, not really sure when it's coming out. Expecting a trailer in someone said May, someone said June. I think May is what EA has said. I want to take a look at Auburn players. I want to look at potentially. I'm going to predict the rankings of the top 5 players that you might see on the Auburn team in EA College Sports 25. So I have my top 5 rated players that I think are going to be. So at number 1, I have Jarquez Hunter. I think he's going to be the highest rated player for Auburn football on the new video game. I think he's going to be a 90 overall. I don't see anybody on this Auburn team being higher than a 90. I think that's just going to happen. The Barner in me wants to say like Jarquez Hunter should be like a 90, 93, 94 because he's one of the top running backs in the SEC, but didn't hit 1,000 yards last year. There was a lot of games where it looked like Damari Alston was a little bit better. Can't lie. So I think a 90 is a strong point to start out with. And I didn't put Damari Alston on this list. I definitely think he could argue up there in the 87, 86 range alongside Jarquez Hunter. But the rest of my list there's no offensive players left on this list. Eugene Asante is my number 2. At 88 overall, Auburn's best defensive player by far going into this year. Everything he can do on the field, he does it well. Tackling, coverage, covering, anything that you can ask Eugene Asante to do, he will do, and that's why he's going to be 88 overall. He's going to be the second highest player on this Auburn team. At number 3, I'm going special teams, and it's going to be tied with Eugene Asante. I have Alex McPherson at 88. He didn't miss a field goal last year. He has a leg. He is one of the best kickers in the country that doesn't get any real doesn't get noticed very much because he's currently an Auburn kicker. And Auburn needs to make ways for our kicker to get the love that he deserves. So Alex McPherson, I have him as an 88 overall in the new NCAA game. At number 4, I have Keontae Scott. I have him at 87. It's the same as Eugene Asante. He does whatever you ask him to on the field. He's just a ball hawk. He's very annoying in coverage. Keontae Scott, I believe, is going to be a 87 overall. Let's see, P-Pass. I have Mac at 92. I'm biased. I could see McPherson being up there as well. I argued with myself not putting a number 1 on my list, but I was like, well, true redshirt sophomore this year. I kind of give him the benefit of the doubt that he's going to be a higher ranked sophomore. But with that, I have an 80. I definitely think he'd be in the upper 90s by the time he's out of Auburn. But yeah. So in my number 4 spot, I have my number 5 spot, I have Jalen McLeod at 86 overall. Definitely going to be Auburn's best pass rusher in 2024. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see how he translates. I think he's going to be one of those very fast edge rushers that you just love to have on your NCAA teams as well. So I completely agree that Alex McPherson could definitely be the highest ranked Tiger on this team. I think outside looking in, I thought about Peyton Thorne as like an 80 in the 80s, but I definitely think he's going to start off in the 79 range. That's probably where you're going to start off with the quarterbacks. Probably going to be like, it might be Peyton Thorne 79, Holden Gerner might be a 75, Hank Brown probably a 68, and then Walker White probably be a 70. I think that's just how that would go. That's how Madden does their ratings. So I would just assume that's how EA does their ratings all across their games. So I definitely think that the quarterbacks are going to be like the lowest ranked position group in this game that comes out in May or June or July, whichever one Matt or EA decides to put it out with. But yeah, so that's all I have for football. Who do you think is going to be the highest ranked Auburn player on the new EA game coming out in just a few months? Sadly, the rest of the show is going to be about, or not the rest of the show, but the next few minutes of the show is going to be Auburn basketball losing to Kentucky last night, which was just not a good game. But before we get to basketball, go ahead and let y'all know. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for watching. If you want to ever so generously offer up a like and a subscribe down below as well. So yeah, that'd be awesome as well. It's the best way to show our support, show your support to the show, and we will reciprocate that love right back. P-Pass, does Cam Coleman go 80 as a freshman? I pondered that. I think that Cam Coleman would probably be fringe 80. I think just what he does and the 5-star aspect of it too. I think of it the same way I think of like when Madden ranks rookies. They used to have like the number 1 overall, number 2 overall players, or whoever was the best overall prospect. They'd be like the 80 range, better than some of those guys. I definitely think that Coleman would probably be like a 79, 80. I'd probably go 79 right now. I think there might be a little bit more traction with the fact that he's a true freshman coming in. But yeah, I definitely think that he could be an 80. I think there's a good chance that Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson, or I guess Jay Fair is in there as well. Jay Fair might be an 83, but Perry Thompson and Cam Coleman might be the number like 2 and 3 wide receiver rating wise on the Auburn team. Before we get to basketball, go and let y'all know that we have a awesome comfortable shirt that you can go get for yourself on the warport.com. It's the Feeling Loopy Warport Podcast Network sponsored Feeling Loopy t-shirts. They come in 5 different colorways. Most comfortable shirt you're ever going to wear in your entire life. They are only $25. So go get your shirt today. It is in the link in the description below if you don't want to type all that in. So yeah, Feeling Loopy t-shirt, most comfortable shirt you are ever going to wear in your entire life. And now it is time to get into Auburn basketball as they lost last night to Kentucky 70-59 in a absolute I don't know how to exactly call this game. It was terrible. It was a bad game. Terribly officiated. Auburn was just throwing up threes to throw up threes. And Jay Will got hurt. I know he said he tweeted out this morning that he's going to be fine, which is a great sign. Auburn has kind of a bye week this week. They don't play it on Saturday. They play against Georgia in Athens, so that's not fun. But Janai Broome, 14 points, 11 rebounds, going to double-double, just a double-double machine. But Auburn shooting 18%, 4 for 22 from a three-point line. And, of course, just the constant fouls. And I will say a lot of fouls didn't go in Kentucky's way either. I think both ways this game was horribly officiated. But this Auburn team does this thing every single game that they play against a team of this caliber where they decide to live and die by the three-point line, which is just not their game. That's just not what this team is made for. This is not the 2019 Bryce Brown and Jared Harper team where you can look at the three-point line and you're like, oh, that's going to be easy. Just throw it up. And they'll throw up like 43s a game, and then they'll either win by 25 or they'll lose by 30. No in between, but Auburn did lose by 21 points against Kentucky. Just could not do anything against Antonio Reeves, who put up 22 points. Thiero put up 14, and Dillingham came off the bench and put up 11. Kentucky also down a player in this game as well. But Auburn just had no reliable scorers outside of Janai Broome, Denver Jones, and Chad Baker-Mazara. Katie Johnson had some of the worst shots I've ever seen Katie Johnson throw up. He had 6 points. Lior Berman got no points since 3 minutes. Aiden Holloway got 4 points. 0 for 3 from the three-point line, though. Chaney Johnson 0 for 2 with 0 points. Dylan Cardwell only had 4 points, only had 1 rebound as well, and no blocks for Dylan Cardwell. Also shot one of his worst nights from the free throw line as well, 0 for 3 for Dylan Cardwell. Trey Donaldson, 1 point for the starting point guard. Chris Moore, only 1 point. And 24 minutes before he got hurt, Jaylin Williams held to only 3 points. So that's a tough look for Auburn basketball. It's just that is just a horrendous game. You had your students who packed the house. They were camping there since Wednesday after the previous game. They were ready, but Auburn came out flat And this is just something that's happened on several occasions this year. You came out flat in Neville Arena against a good Kentucky team, and you did not do anything to fix it. Auburn only held the 29 points in the first half and only had 30 in the second half. 59 points is not good. Auburn, I think, is I believe they've all out of their 6 losses, I think 4 of them have come whenever Auburn has scored 65 points or less. So when this Auburn team cannot make shots, whenever shots are not going in, they just there's nothing redeemable about the offense. And this is a team that we brag about. They're top 5 in the country in offensive efficiency. They're top 5 in the country in defensive efficiency. But when they have nights where they are just throwing up 22 threes in a game, it's not going to bode well. I mean, and looking at it, they shot 30% from the field. I believe if I read this correctly, this is the worst shooting night Auburn has had since, I want to say, their second season under Bruce Pearl, when they're still in that rebuild year. There's just nothing this team just cannot find a rhythm. At the beginning of the year, we thought they found it, and I'm starting to worry about the talk we all had, whether or not this team peaked early or not. It's weighing heavy that this team may have peaked a little early. I don't want to get too negative about it or too pessimistic about it. But outside of that South Carolina game, the team has not been all that impressive. I mean, they had the Bama win and they've had the South Carolina win, but this loss is embarrassing. Especially for you had the ESPN FPI had 85% chance for Auburn to win this game. Neville Arena. Auburn doesn't lose in Neville Arena. Lost by 21. But then you look back at the Florida game. That game was abysmal. There's a terrible sandwich right now with that Florida game and this Kentucky game. And Auburn opens up with goes to Georgia this weekend, goes to Tennessee in just a week. This is not a favorable week. After the bye week, you want to get healthy and get right. But those two are not. Georgia's not a throwaway game anymore. In Athens as well, it's just not a throwaway game. In Tennessee, they're the best team in the SEC. They are the best team in the SEC. And when you go out against Kentucky, a team that you should have beaten, I think every Auburn fan would agree this was a game Auburn should have won. Not only because it's a Neville Arena, but because this Auburn team has been playing better than Kentucky. But overall, it feels and looks like Auburn may have seen their highest points already. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I really hope I am. I would love to be wrong about Auburn basketball peaking a little early. But when it comes to the end of the season like this, and you were not on fire, on a streak, on a win streak, or playing well, playing consistently, having your top guys playing like top guys, having your starting point guard facilitate like he's supposed to. I mean, Denver Jones does a great job. I felt it's one of the Denver's best games he had points wise since he scored 19 a few weeks ago. You can't have this against Georgia. You can't have this against Tennessee. If you still want any kind of shot of winning the SEC regular season, which right now you are a game and a half behind Alabama. Bama is now 10-2 in the conference behind, and then Tennessee's 9-3, and then Auburn is tied with South Carolina at 9-4. You have to get those wins. You have to get these next 2 wins if you want to prove to the world, prove to Auburn fans, prove to your team that you can make it into the SEC tournament, into the March Madness tournament. And there is one Harrison Tarr. Tarr, how you doing, buddy?
I'm awake. So yeah, we'll talk about that here after we're done recording. I'm sorry for my delay, folks. Thank you guys for hanging out with us here on the College Loop. I may or may not have overslept 3 alarms for my nap. It was supposed to be an hour and a half long, but a little bit longer. To build on what you were saying, Dylan, I was able to tune in for the last 3 minutes. I've been trying to catch up while I've been getting my setup ready. Auburn basketball is in shit shape. You're kind of beating around the bush here for a second, Dylan.
I don't say it.
No. You were kind of saying it without saying it. the discussion is now on the table that there's a real world Auburn basketball may have once again peaked too early, once again not hit their stride or not hit their stride at the right time, and once again has made a mess out of a game that they should have been able to not only win but probably win handedly. Folks, Auburn is in serious 2021-2022 watch right now. It's right, wrong, or indifferent. What we saw yesterday, Saturday, as this show's coming out, I guess on I guess it comes out Sunday anyways. For those of you guys who listen to the audio version on Monday, but what we saw from Auburn men's basketball on Saturday is the most concerning display of basketball for not beyond just the obvious reasons that we've seen from Auburn all year. Jaylin Williams, that injury sucks. And being out for the rest of his year is not fun.
Well, he said he's fine, so doesn't have to get surgery, so I think he should be good to go later on in the season. I don't think we get him for the next week.
It's February 18th.
We still got 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
We'll talk. We'll talk in a little after the show. Anyways, Jaylin Williams allegedly not being back with the team soon. That sucks. Here's the reality. This group regresses from its mean every single time they take the floor, and has for the past 5 or 6 games, with the exception of Alabama was a case in point. South Carolina just wasn't that good, and everything fell for Auburn. I mean, that's just that's kind of how I feel. What we learned on Saturday is that Auburn is, at least in its current state, not built to do anything special this year. I'm sorry, that may sound like an overreaction, but over the course of the past 2 weeks, we learned what Auburn's really made of, and it's not good. The loss to Florida, like you mentioned before, was abysmal. Saturday might have been more embarrassing. It was blatantly obvious that Auburn didn't want to come to play basketball until someone ripped into them at halftime and said, "Hey, by the way, you're losing." Now, granted, sometimes you're just going to shoot like crap, and that happened. But there are so many layers, and I'm putting a bow on it here because I know that you've already hit on all the statistical points. For so many reasons, if you are or was all in about where Auburn can land at the end of this year, it is time to get off the wagon. Sorry, guys, it is. This group on yesterday taught me that they don't have what it takes. So that's my shtick. That's why I just jump in. But
you got a comment from P-Pass here. Doesn't seem Auburn struggles against top level guards. See Florida and Kentucky. I guess you could also throw Mark Sears in there. This was a theme we had last year. Was just could not play against guards.
Yeah, I guess. Sure. I'm not just dismissing this conversation, because let's not forget that Auburn locked down Mark Sears quite well in the jungle, but also looked like on the road, and then just absolutely got outclassed on the road in Gainesville. Yes, Auburn struggles against teams with high caliber guards. And they mentioned the P-Pass expanded top level guards with height. Yeah, I mean, that's just the Achilles heel. Auburn's guards don't rise to the occasion right now. It's not that I don't know that they're not talented enough. They might not be. Like this backcourt really just might not be good enough to compete at a high level, which is unfortunate, because I think that set individually, all three of your big three guards have a lot of talent. They're just not putting it together and outclassing these highly, I guess, renowned guard duos, or even just one-offs, if you will. I don't know. I'm beyond stumped, because I think that there's the talent here, but the success the track record's undeniable. Auburn has not been good against teams with great guards. And that screams one and done in the tournament too. Like there is if there's such thing as overreacting appropriately, I think that's where we are right now. Because there's no indicator that Auburn has what it takes to build up on this, and there's another point, but we'll talk about that later. Dylan.
Yeah, but there was a team that did beat Kentucky in Neville Arena, and Coach J and Co. took down a bad Kentucky team by me. Go ahead and put this out there because I tweeted it wrong, and I'm sorry. I got absolutely cooked in the comments for it. 28 points for Auburn women's basketball. You had Scott Grayson put up 22 points. You had Taylor Collins put up 19. You had Jemima Mingo-Young put up 10. And you have Caitlin Duhan also put up 10 on the bench. So very good standout performance from them against Kentucky. But they had a little bit of the dreaded third quarter and fourth quarter against Alabama earlier today.
They won the third quarter.
They didn't win the fourth quarter though. They had a dreaded. It like held off for a little bit and went straight into the fourth quarter where Auburn got outscored 25-9 in the fourth quarter against Alabama.
Outside of baseball, this weekend sucked. Like,
Softball.
Yes, I'm sorry, but if you're a basketball fan for Auburn, this weekend was not fun. I haven't gone back and watched film on the women's game yet. I kept the score updates going on as I was out on the course earlier today, but I imagine I'm really not going to enjoy the fourth quarter. This group chipped away and worked their ass off to keep themselves ahead. And in the third quarter, it's a period that they've just been horrendously bad at throughout this year, just to forget how to play basketball in the fourth quarter. I'm really not in a great mood about Auburn hoops right now, if I'm being transparent. So I'm not looking forward to this. You did it on the road against I could live with just about anyone else, but losing on the road like that to Alabama it's upsetting and unfortunate.
It took Auburn until there was 6:12 left in the fourth quarter for Scott Grayson to make a layup.
Yeah,
that was neat. But at that point, Bama had already gotten within 7 after being down by, I believe, double-digit points, and then just went on an absolute tear for the rest of that. And then, yeah, that's just not what you want to see, especially whenever you have a chance to go into the airplane hangar and get a sweep. You can't have fourth quarters like that. The aerodynamics of that place did not affect the fourth quarter that much if the first through third were pretty good. But Oscar Grayson put up 15. Jemima Mingo-Young put up 14. Things we're used to seeing. Taylor Collins just did not have a good scoring night that we expect. She got rebounds, but after that, Savannah Scott got 4. Taylor Collins got 4. Celia Sunbane got 2. And whenever 3 out of your starting 5 only get 10 points, that's not what you want to see.
Yeah, no, not great. So, I've been in better moods about Auburn athletics before than I am right now, and I am going to go back and rewatch the game in like 1.5 speed.
What if I told you that in one weekend, in 3 games, Auburn had, let's see this, 2 players bat 500. They had 1 player bat a 4.44. And then had 1 bat a 3.85.
I would have believed you because Auburn baseball looked freaking awesome this weekend.
Yes, they did. And this player being Cooper Weiss, by the way, who bat a 500.
Yes,
someone's best newcomer of the year. Just want to say.
I'm trying to find. I'm on the box right now. For whatever reason, my box score is not box score. My Auburn Athletics app. It's just frozen because I'm trying to look at Jogo's his box score, what he posted on Saturday. Because
I can get it for you.
Yeah, please do, because what my Safari is actually crashing. And I looked at it earlier and I was like, holy awesome, we are so back.
In 5 innings pitched, Jogo allowed 2 hits, 1 run.
That's right.
3 walks, 2 strikeouts, and allowed a batting average of 125.
Folks, that I mean, aside from the fact that Auburn absolutely took care of business, there's run manufacturing from all parts of the lineup on across the past 3 days. That stat line is the most exciting part of this weekend. If Jogo is pitching up to 3/4 of where we think he might be right now, that son of a gun is going to be all SEC. He's also I'm not joking, and he's going to be able to anchor down this rotation in a way that's really, really special. Not to mention, Auburn gave up a combined 8 runs this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Friday night got a little messy. Saturday,
Auburn won Friday 17-6, Saturday 6-1, and today 9-1 in a sweep of whatever in Eastern Kentucky is.
Yeah, Eagles. I don't know.
There's some.
Yeah, it's some kind of. I think there's some kind of bird. But this pitching group or pitching rotation rather that we had talked about that could wind up actually be what we're going to see throughout the rest of the year. Obviously, a lot of tinkering left to do, a lot of chances to move things around and figure out who it fits where. This was so encouraging to see. Your transfer pieces are working the way you want them to, and then you've got the back end help and the bullpen. Supposedly, knock on wood, you didn't have to get that deep into it this weekend, but on a scale from like A to F for where you think you stand after weekend one, in your pitching rotation and in your bullpen, you're an A. There is a God. That's all. It's just the offense is going to come, Dylan. Like it's and it did this weekend. It's going to be great. I just really, really would like for Auburn to have a disgustingly good bullpen.
I think that I got to highlight Cooper Weiss. I feel like it is completely ingrained for you to highlight the guy you picked for best newcomer and Carson Myers, who in his start today in 6 innings that he pitched, he only allowed 2 hits, 1 walk, no runs, 8 strikeouts, allowed a 1 batting or 0.1 batting average.
Disgusting stuff. Just filthy stuff. And this is exactly what we thought we could get from this guy, right? Just experience that'll correlate well from the Conference USA over into the SEC. A guy that's had innings under his belt at the collegiate level, and that can add, like I said, the big thing has on his resume. He can bring that into the bullpen with him. That hey, been there, done that. I've shoved for a lot against a lot of different guys with a lot of different skill sets at this in this level. I think that if you have a guy like that anchoring down, I think he winds up being a Friday night guy. Just me. That's probably where. And you keep Jogo on Saturday. Jogo prefers pitch on Saturday. Whatever you got to do, you're a wizard. I don't really care. You moved Myers to Friday. I feel really good about where you're at.
But they also did not have the best of days. That was the first game of the season.
Yeah, color me shocked. No hate.
And just Carson Myers, Jogo could just end up being just lights out Friday, Saturday. I don't even need to worry about Sunday games anymore. Kind of pitching rotation right there. And can't forget my boy, John Armstrong, allowing a 0 across the board. Did have 2 walks, but 2 strikeouts for the sidearmer himself.
Listen, somehow it be that way. Sometimes no, John Armstrong, you're gonna take the good with the bad. Sometimes you're gonna miss bad. But he's one of the guys.
Is John Armstrong the Katie Johnson of baseball?
No, absolutely not. Horrible comparison, respectfully.
I was like, well, whenever he's on, but whenever he's off, he's off.
Yeah, that's just a hell of an analogy there. But yeah, he's also one of those guys that is. I mean, he's a bullpen arm. Like he's not going to be a starting guy unless you're going to have like an opener role. And he plays his role extremely well. So like you can't be too upset about that. And he's only going to. Also another one of those guys that only gets better as the season goes on. So very, very excited for them. Great weekend. 3-0 on the weekend for Auburn Baseball. And this group looks every bit as good as I thought they were going to be, maybe better. So I'm overreacting, obviously. I don't want to like put the cart before the horse, but
you have to overreact whenever the other sports don't really give you reasons to happily react.
Yeah, no, this weekend was miserable. Other than this, and then softball got canceled yesterday. So
they moved it to today, and then it got canceled today.
Right, that's what I meant. Yeah,
because for some reason if Auburn softball is playing, it's going to rain.
Right.
That's what we're learning so far.
That's just
but
the law. That's actually the law of the world, of the land.
Yeah, they were able to get the win over Wichita State, which we talked about on the last show. Then I believe Thursday they got the wins over UC Davis, where they had to come back a little bit in the sixth inning. Scored 4 runs in the first inning, which, might I say, they didn't just score in the first inning. It was a grand slam in the first inning from Amelia Larck, who sent Anna Wohlers, KK McCrae, and Nelia Peralta all to home plate. And then, of course, sixth inning comes around. It's a comeback. They were down. They were up 4-3 at the bottom of the sixth. In walks Amelia Larck again for a second home run of the game, which is a 2 RBI, and gave Auburn the 6-3 win over UC Davis. And then an hour later, they had to walk in and play the number 13 team in the country. And this was a Maddie Penta legacy game. Getting back for the slow start they had last weekend, absolutely went off. This was a pitching duel if I've ever seen one. There was a total of, there's 14 hits in this game. There was 1 run. That was if I must say so myself, the last thing, it was a little walk, but it was a walk-off. A walk-off walk for Auburn softball to get the win over a top 13 team in the country. So a huge win for that. Really wish they could have played Clemson. Would have loved to have that little revenge game against Lindsey Garcia and the Clemson Tigers, who eliminated Auburn the previous season. But I do love seeing Michaela Packer getting walked and sending Amelia Larck, or who got advanced. Keiko McCrae advanced to home plate and getting Auburn the walk-off win. But yeah,
gotta love it. And then their midweek is on. Give me 1 second. I just had this pulled up.
23rd, they're playing Longwood.
That's right, Longwood. That would be Friday. That's not a midweek.
5 days away. So yeah,
that's not exactly a midweek, but yeah, they'll be back in action next weekend.
It's the middle of the week if you squint enough. But
yeah, if you pretend that it's a Wednesday when it's Friday, and
they're definitely doing another play. It's the Plainsman Invitational.
Yeah,
they're playing Longwood, Southeast Missouri State,
yep,
and Northern Iowa.
Yep. Fingers crossed that the weather's nice on the plains this weekend, because I feel like every time we turn around, it's going to rain on softball.
Well, Auburn softball's in Auburn, so hopefully Auburn baseball is not going to be in Auburn that week. But I believe they are.
Yeah. Yeah, so just cancel all of it. Why not? And let's just
go in pretty
postpone everything. Rain hates everyone. But moving on from the Diamond to round things out, and I imagine that I'm not jumping over you here, Dylan, because I looked at the rundown. It doesn't look like we're there yet. Auburn Gymnastics did head to Baton Rouge and lose on Friday, and I'm a little concerned. The scores they posted on Friday were pretty serious regression. I don't know if that's just, and I obviously, to be transparent, I had to work on Friday night too. So I'm not 100% on the same page here. Maybe you can fill me in here, Dylan. It's pretty drastic to where drastically different from where Auburn's been over the past 3 or 4 meets. Really, all through to this since the Arkansas meet. In terms of where Auburn posted and where they stood after the conclusion. What's up? What are we missing here?
Well, it's one of those days, I guess. You're playing against one of the top teams in the country, which you do that every week you play in the SEC, no matter what. Let's just not forget Haley Bryant is an absolute dog. The entirety of that LSU gymnastics team are just ridiculous.
Okay.
I believe it started off with bars. I don't think I've ever seen Auburn struggle that much with bars. They had a 49-1. That's what they posted, which was their lowest score. It's not great at all. It was a very slow start, as you see, because if you look at the scores, they get higher as they go along. Sure. It just seems that the gymnastics came out a little slow.
Yep.
And that happens. I'm not. Cassie Stevens finished second in the all around, and Olivia Hollingsworth and Sophia Groth finished shortly after her. But it happens, and I believe Auburn. I think on the floor. I can't remember exactly who did it because I'm reading the rundown of it right now. But I believe someone fell on the floor and cost them a good amount of points. I think they got like a 9-1 after falling. So it's going to happen. I'm not too pressed about it. They'll look to take on an easier opponent in Missouri this week. So.
Which is interesting because this is the first time in recent memory that you can be like you're able to say an easier opponent in Missouri.
Well, you would do that for gymnastics and for men's basketball later.
Yeah, it's a little different narrative for out in Como this year. They spent all of their energy on football, and that's where they wound up. That's good to hear, Dylan. I mean, I still think that this gymnastics group is extremely talented. It's just a little alarming when you look back and see that you are drastically different. I mean, 197.1 flat is.
I will say is their highest score on the road this season. So.
It is. But you also have to you're looking and you're like you almost feel like you're late enough in the year that those 197.7s and those 197.4s that you've seen so much as of late. Like you think it's time for that on the road, right? Like you want it to be time for that, and that's just I guess my not area of panic. Listen, I've already dogged on basketball enough and drugged them through the mud that I'm not going to do this to another team today. And for those of you guys who are listening, thinking I'm being harsh as hell on basketball and I'm being a pessimist, I want you to know this weekend was a little deflating. Like if it wasn't deflating for you too, you might not actually be an Auburn fan. So that's I don't want to throw another team under the bus like this, especially one that I actually believe in. Wow, that was so petty. Anyways, especially like gymnastics, a team that I actually believe in. But it is worth noting that we're like, maybe we can start seeing a little better than that on the road. Because you can't. Your NCAA regionals cannot. I guess. Some of them can be at home, but when you're early enough in the postseason, but not all of them. So I don't know. I'm glad we touched base on that there, Dylan. I just wanted to follow up. I'm gonna let you. Do you have anything else you needed to chime in?
I'll go and let you. I talked about this, and me and you are very happy about the upcoming college football game coming out very, very soon. Fingers crossed, it's coming out soon. I ranked my top 5 highest rated Auburn players. I'm predicting. I'll give you the opportunity to say who you think is the highest rated player on this Auburn team.
Oh shoot. Yeah, so I just woke up from a nap. You're gonna put me on the spot for that one. Shit.
I'll say I put Quez as my number 1.
As your highest rated? He's certainly the highest rated offensive player.
Yeah, I have him as a 90.
Shoot. I guess Quez on the offensive side of the ball for sure would be your highest rated player. I don't know. I would think Rivaldo Fairweather would probably be a 92, because his pass catchability and route running and physicality. I would think that he'd be pretty high.
I'm trying to remember because I know I forgot all about Valdo. I think because I put Quez, Eugene Asante as an 88, Alec McPherson as an 88, Keontae Scott's an 87, McLeod as an 86.
I like that group.
I'd probably put Valdo as an 80, 86 right there.
That's I like that. I literally not put any thought into this because I'm very excited for this game, but I also don't trust EA Sports to not give us a Madden reskin. So I'm practicing right now. What I'm doing, guys, and this is me being completely transparent with you guys, is what I am practicing getting my expectations, lowering my expectations, because I'm going to be really, really sad when this game is a Madden reskin, but I need to go ahead and get it through my head. That way, if it's not a Madden reskin, it's the happiest day of my life. It will be a Madden reskin. It will be disappointing. And P-Pasta Fairweather would be a very nice goal. Yeah, facts. That's exactly what I've already thought about this so many times. How many times I'm gonna have Valdo on a curl route and within the inside the 5.
Back corner fade against Cal.
And then just hold down his receiver button too long and watch Peyton Thorne like throw it at the ground or
I
something.
would say here's the thing: you're not going to be able to utilize Farrell like you want to because
Yeah, facts.
he's going to have 1 year of eligibility left, and you're going to have to choose between
Yep. Nope. 100%.
bottom like probably 79 to 70 range quarterbacks to work.
I'm going to be a transfer portal merchant in that game though. So it's.
I hope they give you a chance in the offseason whenever you get hired to like recruit transfer portal players.
No, look, now listen. Like here's the reality of this. I want all of this to be the case so bad, but we're getting a Madden reskin. So just like I know they put out the teasers and the jerseys look really good. That's what they've been working on the whole time. Is just making the jerseys look different. And I'm just so nervous, and I feel like I've been cheated on by EA before. It's like that toxic ex-girlfriend you keep letting back in your life. I'm hurting, Dylan. I'm very, very hurting. I'm ready to put Walker White as RB1 for RB option passes. That's awesome.
You feel like you got if you're playing as Auburn, you got to start Walker White right away. You know, you have to get 4 years. Go ahead and get him up to like a 90, like 5 overall by senior year. Hopefully, you have some championships.
Yeah, no, because then he leaves in 3.
No, you got to convince him. You got to get your degree. You got to come back to.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. I
was a comeback king for mine.
I will be making a certain quarterback named No Bix, and I will recruit him to Auburn. He will be a 5-star product out of I don't know. We'll just for funsies, we'll make it. We'll say like the Birmingham area, and then I will give him his tenure that he deserved. That Sweet Prince deserved at Auburn.
Yeah, I prospect create like Cam Newton the second.
Yeah. I would like Nam Cooten. It'd be great. I love doing stuff like that where it's like this is clearly not who this person's supposed to be.
I think me and my roommate we created a player that was like the son of the coach. We made him like a 70 overall, and he never played.
Perfect.
And he'd only get when we were like winning by a lot. And he was like
the Dabo Sweeney effect.
Yeah, Dabo Sweeney son.
That's awesome.
Just like Hail Mary to him every single time. Like, we'll get him a touchdown in the championship.
Wait a minute. I made a player a 5-star safety and UGA got him. Dude, what are you doing in recruiting? What are you doing?
No, not KJ Bolden. No. Where'd you put him at? Did you put him in Athens?
Dude, I'm going to make George Pickens in the game, like as a recruit, and then I'm going to make him come to Auburn, and then I'm going to cut him. I'm going to be so petty.
Were you also the one, like, whenever you had to cut players, whenever you had, like, the redshirt senior who's been around forever but never got to play, and you're like, dang, I don't want to cut you, but I have to. You put him in Opelika?
Yeah, UGA got a kid out of a 5-star Opelika on your video game, bro. Are you okay? How?
His proximity to home was not a key need or something.
That's awesome. Oh my
you put him in Central Phoenix City, I completely understand why he would not come to Auburn, but him and being a
This is off the rails. All right, that puts a nice bow on today's live stream. Thank you for letting me hang out for half of it, Dylan. My apologies for oversleeping, folks. I have had a long weekend. It's been a good weekend, but it's been a long weekend, so my body needed some rest. If you guys want to support the show, make sure you head over to actually, let me rewind for a second. Make sure you head down to the subscribe button, like, subscribe, ring the bell right here on the College Loop YouTube channel so you can stay up to date with everything coming out right here between our work and the War Report Podcast Network family work. Lots and lots and lots of Auburn content continually coming your way. So like I said, that's the number one way you can support the show is to make sure you hit subscribe, help us push toward the 800 subscriber mark. That would mean the world to all of us. What are you looking at me like that for?
What? I was closing my tabs.
Oh, you did the slow head turn. Like I just read the number wrong. I was like, hold on, I didn't miss anything. You would have told me this. Anyways, I digress. If you guys are hanging out with us on a streaming platform, or you're not watching the YouTube stream, thank you guys so much for hanging out. We appreciate your continual love and support. Give us 5 stars, give us a thumbs up, share the show with the friends. So we continue to grow the Looper family. You guys are the best in the world, and I truly mean that. We couldn't do what we do without you guys. If you want to support the show in ways beyond hitting like, subscribing, and ringing bells of that nature, you can head over to thewarreport.com. That's www.thewarreport.com. Pick up your very own College Loop podcast. War Report Podcast Network co-branded Feelin' Loopy t-shirt. Comes in 5 different colorways, $25. Once you pick up your very own shirt, make sure you use hashtag Feelin' Loopy. That's Feelin' without the G on whatever social media platform makes you the happiest. Share it with us. Tag us in it, and we will make sure to throw it up on the next stream, next show, whatever works out better for our schedule and your schedule. That being said, thank you guys for hanging out with us here on this Sunday evening. And I'm Harrison Tarr, by Harrison Tarr on the Bird app and on Instagram. Come give me your good takes, your bad takes, everything in between. Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. Let's lock in and have a great week going forward. Dylan, get us out of here, man.
Of course, I'm Dylan Larck at Ebola Tank on Twitter. Also at Dylan Larck on Instagram at DYLE and LERCK. And that Ebola Tank is YABOY the Tank. And of course, you can find me right here on the College Elite, where you like, comment, and subscribe. As Star said, we're getting so close to 800 subscribers. We don't know what we're going to do when we get 800, but one of those is feeding Colin.
Yeah, maybe we'll bring Colin back.
And of course, if you're tired of seeing our faces, completely understand it. You have a Spotify podcast, Google Podcasts, and of course, Amazon Music. And of course, all of that, everything being said, this has been the College Loop Podcast.
Love you guys.